It was a quiet night. The sky was dark and the streets were empty. Jason walked alone, his hands in his jacket pockets. He had just finished work at the pizza shop. He was tired and wanted to go home. The wind was cold, but the sky was clear. Stars twinkled above him. Jason looked up and smiled. "Beautiful night," he said to himself, but then something changed. A soft humming sound came from above. It was quiet at first, almost like a whisper. Jason stopped walking and looked up again. One of the stars was moving. No, not just moving, growing brighter. Jason's smile faded. The light grew bigger and brighter until it was no longer a star. It was something else. Something closer. Something flying. The object in the sky glowed white and blue. It was smooth, round, and silent. No wings, no sound of engines. Just a deep, soft hum. Jason blinked. What the? Is that a plane? A drone? The light stopped right above him. Jason couldn't move. His legs felt heavy. His heart beat fast. The humming got louder. Then, without warning, a bright beam of light shot down from the object. It surrounded Jason like a spotlight. He couldn't scream. He couldn't run. His body lifted from the ground, slowly, gently, as if the wind itself carried him upward. Jason floated into the sky. The last thing he saw before blacking out was the streetlight below him, getting smaller, smaller. Jason woke up in a room. It was not his bedroom. The walls glowed soft blue. The air smelled clean, too clean. There were no windows, only smooth silver walls and a glowing ceiling. He sat up. His clothes were still on. His shoes were missing. "Hello?" He called out. No answer. He stood up and looked around. The floor was warm under his feet. There was no door. No buttons. No screens. Suddenly one wall shimmered like water. Then they walked in. Tall, thin, blue-skinned. They had glowing eyes, long white hair. Their faces looked almost human, but too perfect. Their skin looked soft like glass, but moved like silk. Jason took a step back. What is this place? One of the beings stepped forward. She was taller than Jason, but graceful. She smiled kindly. "You are safe," she said. Her voice was musical. "Do not be afraid, Jason." He stared. How do you know my name?" "We have studied your world," she said. "We chose you." "Chose me? For what?" Another being walked forward. This one had a robe and a glowing crown on her head. "You are the one," she said. "The human with the face that matches the prophecy." Jason blinked. "What prophecy?" The queen-like figure continued. "Many years ago, our people searched the stars for a leader. A face of calm, of strength, of beauty. The scanners searched many worlds, but only one face matched the signal." Jason took a deep breath. "Wait, are you saying you think I'm beautiful?" They all nodded. Jason almost laughed. "You took me from Earth because I'm handsome." "Yes," said the queen. "And not just that, you are kind. You are strong. You are human." Jason sat down again. His head hurt. This was too much. "You kidnapped me to make me your king." "No," the queen said. "We invited you. The final choice is yours." Jason looked around the strange room. Everything felt like a dream. But it was too real. He stood up again and looked into the queen's glowing eyes. "What happens if I say no?" "Then you will return to Earth," she said. "And we will continue our search for the face that brings peace." Jason thought for a long moment. Then he asked the only question that mattered right now. "What happens if I say yes?" The queen smiled. "Then you will begin the tests. And if you pass, you will become the king of Virelia." Jason looked down at his hands, a pizza delivery boy, now standing in front of aliens, being offered a crown. He didn't know what was coming next. But he knew one thing for sure. This night had changed his life forever. Jason blinked slowly as he stepped through the glowing doorway. His eyes opened wider, his breath caught in his chest. Before him stretched a city unlike anything he had seen on Earth. Towers reached the sky. Like frozen lightning, bridges floated in the air without support. Rivers of light flowed between buildings like living water. The sky above was purple with two suns burning silently. He stood on a balcony made of smooth crystal. Beneath him lay a crowd of creatures, all different, all beautiful, all staring up at him. Jason turned to the tall woman beside him. Her name was Azari. She wore silver armor that shimmered like moonlight. "Where?" he asked again. Azari looked at him with her glowing violet eyes. "You are on Varelia, home of the Aurelin Pluralia." Jason repeated slowly. "This is another planet." "Yes," she answered, "many light years from Earth. We found you because our scanners detected your image through your world's broadcasts." "Broadcasts?" Jason frowned. "Like TV, exactly. We studied your species through your transmissions. You appeared often. We saw your smile, your voice, your kindness. You stood out." Jason laughed nervously. "I was just in pizza commercials. I wasn't even the main guy too." You were more than enough." Azari said. "You matched the traits our ancestors described. The symmetry of the face, the calm in the eyes, the aura of leadership." Jason shook his head slowly. "So let me get this straight. You saw me on TV and decided I should be your king. It is our ancient law," Azari said without emotion. "The Aurelin must follow the signal of beauty when the face appears. We offer the crown." Jason looked over the balcony again. The people were still watching. Some had flowers, some held glowing orbs, some bowed. "This is insane," he whispered to himself. He turned back to Azari. "What if I say no? What if I want to go home?" "Then you are free to leave," she said with a slight nod. "But the people will feel sorrow. They have waited a long time. They have hope." Jason rubbed the back of his neck. Everything felt like a dream, a beautiful, strange, impossible dream. He followed Azari down a spiral path made of light. It led into a grand hall. There were statues of past kings and queens, all flawless, alien, majestic. At the center of the hall stood a floating throne, made of something golden, alive, breathing. Almost. Jason stepped closer. It moved, adjusting, shaping itself to fit him. Azari spoke again. "But beauty alone is not enough. You must prove you are worthy. 3 trials await you. Each one will test a part of your being. If you pass, you shall be king. If you fail, you shall return." Jason stared at the throne. It seemed to be waiting for him. "And if I pass the tests, I really become king." "What then? Then you will rule Varelia," she said, "and help guide our future." Jason took a deep breath. His mind raced, but deep down, he felt something strange. Not fear, not confusion, something else. A pull like destiny had just tapped him on the shoulder. Turned around. The people outside were still waiting, still watching. Jason looked back at the throne, then at Azari. "What's the first trial?" he asked. Her eyes lit up. "You begin tomorrow. Rest now. Your true journey starts at sunrise." Jason followed a soft blue light down a hallway. The walls responded to his movement. Lights danced around his steps. He entered a quiet chamber. Soft music played from the air itself. A bed of glowing petals waited for him. Jason sat down slowly, his head spinning from pizza delivery to alien royalty. He laid back and stared at the ceiling. Stars slowly drifted across it. He closed his eyes. Didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing now. This was no dream. This was real, and his life on Earth would never be the same again. Jason opened his eyes as a soft chime echoed in the air. The chamber glowed with warm orange light. A new day on Varelia had begun. His first day as the chosen one, the possible king. He stood up. His body felt rested, but his mind buzzed with questions. He walked toward the door that opened without a sound. Azari was waiting. "Good morning, Jason. Today your tests begin." He followed her through a crystal hallway. The walls showed images from ancient times, past kings standing strong, past queens holding stars in their hands. All had the same calm beauty, the same glowing eyes. Jason felt small, but something inside him stayed strong. "What is the first test?" he asked without fear in his voice. Azari looked ahead. "The test of strength." Not of muscles, but of survival, of instinct, of reaction. They entered a vast chamber with no sky above. The roof was a giant dome showing a burning red sun. Strange machines stood at the edges, shaped like animals but made of shining metal. Jason stepped onto a stone circle. The ground shook. The machines turned their heads, eyes glowing like fire. "This is a training ground," Azari said from a distance. "You will face them one by one. Defeat is not failure. Survival is the goal." Jason took a breath. The first machine stepped forward. It looked like a silver lion. Its roar was soundless, but Jason felt it in his bones. He ran to the side. The lion charged. Its metal claws cut the air where he had just been. Jason grabbed a long stick lying nearby, not a weapon, just something solid. He used it to block the next strike. The force knocked him backward. His body ached, but he stood again. The lion came faster now. Jason rolled to the ground, then jumped onto the machine's back. He saw a soft blue light near its neck. He slammed the stick into it. The machine froze, then shut down. Silence filled the chamber. A second machine walked in. This one had wings. Jason whispered to himself. "Okay, round two." It flew fast. Jason ducked, then remembered something. Speed is not power. Thinking as he ran toward the wall, let the machine follow, then jumped aside at the last moment. The flying beast crashed into the barrier and fell. Azari's voice echoed. "You think you adapt? Good one last challenge." A shadow appeared at the far end, twice his size, covered in dark plates. No face, just heavy steps. Jason felt fear rise, but then he smiled. "You're just a robot. I've delivered pizza in worse places." He didn't attack. He waited, watched its movements, its timing, its rhythm. Then he threw a small stone toward the left. The machine turned to follow the sound. Jason ran right, climbed a platform, jumped, landed on its back, pulled a wire from its shoulder. The machine stopped moving. The chamber lights dimmed. Jason stood in the center, breathing hard, sweating, smelling. Azari walked in with others. They looked at him with quiet surprise. "He is not strong like us, but he moves like water," sighed one elder. "He learns," sighed another. "He survives," sighed Azari. Jason stepped forward. "What now? Now you rest again. Tomorrow is the test of wisdom. Harder, slower, more dangerous in silence than in fire." Jason nodded. He looked at his bruises, at the marks on his arms. Pain meant nothing now. He was still here, still standing, still chosen. As he walked out of the chamber, he heard one word whispered behind him: "Worthy." Night came softly over Varelia. The twin moons rose like glowing eyes in the sky. The city lights dimmed to a soft purple. Only the palace stayed bright. Jason sat near a window. He watched the sky and thought about his test. His arms still felt sore. His mind still buzzed from the battle. He heard a soft knock. It was Lyra, the quiet girl from the palace library. Her skin shimmered like starlight. Her voice was always calm. "You should rest," she said without looking at him. Jason nodded, but his eyes stayed on the sky. "Everything feels too fast. Yesterday, I was on Earth. Today, I'm fighting machines." Lyra stepped closer. Her eyes scanned the hall. She lowered her voice. "Be careful. Not all want you here. Not everyone believes in the prophecy." Jason turned to face her. "What do you mean?" "Some think you are a mistake. Others think you are a threat. One even believes you will destroy us." Jason stood. His heart beat faster. Lyra shook her head. "Names mean little in the dark, but the whispers are growing. They say you are only human, too weak, too different, too plain to wear the crown." Jason felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not anger, something sharper. "Focus. Where are these whispers coming from?" "The Tower of Memory," she answered, "where secrets sleep. Behind light and shadow, where not even the queen listens." Jason walked toward the door, but Lyra grabbed his wrist. "Not tonight. They will see you. Wait until after the next trial." Jason paused, then nodded. One step at a time. The next morning came cold and silent. The palace halls were empty. Even the birds seemed to hold their songs. Azari met him near the Gate of Echoes. Behind it lay the place of the second trial. "The test of wisdom," she said. "This test has no weapons, only questions, only choices." Followed her inside. The walls were mirrors. The floor was glass. The ceiling showed memories from other lives. A voice filled the room. Not Azari, not anyone he could see. Answer true or be lost. Speak lies and vanish forever. Jason stood still. The voice asked the first question. Two tribes fight over water. One drinks little but guards much. One drinks much but shares little. Who do you help? Jason thought. He remembered his city on Earth. Rich people wasting food, poor people sharing scraps. He answered, the one that shares, even if they drink too much, at least they give. The room glowed green. Next question. You see a child take food. The law says punish. The heart says forgive. The crowd says nothing. What do you do? Jason closed his eyes. He saw a boy from his old street, hungry, afraid. He answered, feed him, then teach him, never punish hunger. The walls brightened. Last question. You must choose between peace and pride. Bow and save millions, stand tall and start a war. What is the true power? Jason did not speak right away. He looked at his hands. He looked at his reflection. He answered, true power is not fear. It is the strength to bend without breaking. I choose peace. Silence. Then the mirrors faded. The glass floor turned solid. Azari stepped forward. With others behind her. You chose well. You listened with heart. You passed. Jason stepped out into the sun. But the wind felt colder now. His eyes moved to the tower of memory in the distance. The whispers were still alive. He could feel them that night. He found a small message under his food tray. They watch you from behind the mirrors. Trust no voice that echoes twice. Jason looked up. The walls did not move, but something behind them did. Asterisk. The air in Jason's room felt strange, too still, too quiet. As if the walls were holding their breath. He sat at the table, a warm bowl of glowing soup in front of him. Steam rose gently, but the smell was wrong. Jason stared at the spoon. His fingers stopped halfway. His chest felt heavy. His heart skipped a beat. Then a whisper reached him from behind the curtain. Do not eat. They turned quickly. Lyra stepped out from the shadows, her face pale. Her voice barely sound. What are you doing here? Jason asked, his hands now shaking. Saving you. She said, I saw them. They placed something in your food while you were in the trial. Jason's eyes met hers. Dark, afraid, honest. He pushed the bowl away, stood up, his legs unsteady, his trust shaken. Who wants me gone? She looked at the wall. A name is not enough, but the plan was real. The poison is slow. It brings sleep. Then silence. Jason felt his throat tighten. He leaned against the table, his body growing cold. You already took a sip, didn't you? Jason nodded. Just one. Before she arrived, Lyra pulled something from her robe, a small crystal, green and gold. She placed it in his hand. Hold this. It will slow the poison. We must go to the healing chamber. Jason followed, each step harder than the last. The hallways blurred, the lights twisted, voices around him faded. He collapsed near a tall silver door. Lyra screamed for help. A healer arrived, wings like glass, eyes burning soft blue. He is poisoned. Lyra said, use the core. The healer nodded, placed a glowing cube against Jason's chest. Time stopped. His heartbeat slowed. His breath came back. His fingers moved again. Jason opened his eyes. The ceiling was unfamiliar, high and dark, shaped like a shell. Where am I? He asked. His voice weak. The healer spoke without turning. You lived because someone chose to protect you. Many would not have. Lyra stood nearby, watching, waiting, holding her hands together. Jason sat up, looked at her. Why help me? Why risk yourself? Because I believe. She said, I read the ancient texts. The prophecy speaks of a human with fire and kindness. You are not perfect, but you are true. Jason leaned back, closed his eyes, the memory of the poisoned soup still fresh. Someone in the palace, once and gone, but not through battle, through silence, through shadows. He opened his eyes again, his voice steady. Now no more hiding, no more waiting. I want to know who tried to end me. Lyra nodded. Then you must go where truth hides, the tower of memory tonight. Jason stood still, weak, but alive, more than alive. Awake. Lyra handed him a thin silver blade. Just in case, she said. He took. It felt its weight, not heavy, but sharp. They left the healing room, moved through side paths, avoided open halls, avoided voices that smiled too much. The tower rose like a black finger in the night. No windows, no guards, just silence. They stepped inside. A hallway of smoke and mirrors, walls shifted, reflections whispered. Steps echoed in strange ways. Jason moved forward, heart steady, blade in hand. He was no longer the lost human from Earth. He was the hunted, but also the seeker. He would find the truth, or vanish in its shadow. The Tower of Memory did not welcome guests. Its doors opened only for silence. Its walls held voices that never spoke aloud. Jason stepped in first, the blade cold in his hand, his steps light, his breath slower than usual. Behind him walked Lyra Har, eyes sharp, her movements careful. This place was older than the palace, older than the stars above. Each step deeper, felt heavier. Not in weight, in meaning. The air inside was dry, tasted like metal, smelled like old wind. Jason paused as the hallway opened into a wide chamber. Books floated in the air, not paper, not screens, but cubes of thought, memories held in light. He looked around. No guards, no traps, only knowledge waiting. Lyra pointed to a glowing red cube near the center. That one, she whispered. The Forbidden's record. It holds the truth about why they want you. Jason stepped forward. The cube floated toward his hands. It rested there, warm and alive. He closed his eyes. The room around him faded. He saw images, a sky filled with fire, a man standing before alien kings. His face was not Jason's, but his eyes were the same. Cube spoke in a voice older than time. Once, long ago, a human arrived. He was chosen as king. He brought peace. He brought light. But he also brought something else. Doubt. He questioned the laws. He asked why only beauty ruled. He asked why truth was hidden, and the people listened. The rulers grew afraid. They erased his story. But prophecy remembered. One day, another would come, another human, born with a similar face, a voice like wind, a fire that questions. That human would return, and the world would have two paths, unity or ruin. Jason opened his eyes. The cube vanished. He stood in silence, his heart full, his throat dry. Lyra looked at him. You were not chosen for your face. You were chosen for your spirit. But they lied to protect the old rule. Jason turned away. He walked slowly toward the exit, each step louder now, each breath deeper. They never wanted a king. They wanted a puppet. Azari knew, maybe even the crowd outside. Jason stopped near the door. His reflection looked back at him from a black wall. Same face, new purpose. He would not run. He would stand. Even if the crown was a trap, even if the prophecy was a warning, not a gift. Lyra stepped beside him. What now? She asked. Now I lead, he said, not as their perfect king, but as the truth they fear. The palace gates opened with thunder in the sky. Clouds rolled like waves, wind danced with silver leaves. A strange silence covered the crowd gathered below. Jason walked forward, no crown on his head, no cape on his shoulders, only truth in his eyes. Lyra followed behind. Her hands carried no weapon, only a message. Azari stood near the throne, guards on each side, eyes cold, smile hidden. Jason faced her. I know, he said. I saw the truth. The prophecy is real, she answered. And now we must choose. Jason looked at the throne, then at the people below. Thousands waited. Some held banners, some held questions. He raised his voice loud and clear. You brought me here for my face, but my face is not what makes peace. Some in the crowd looked at each other. Some lowered their flags. Some stepped closer to hear. I am human. I fail. I learn. That is what makes me strong. Zari stepped closer. You still have a choice. Take the crown, or return to your world. Jason did not move toward the throne. Instead, he stepped onto the edge of the royal platform. Spoke not to the queen, but to the people. If I wear the crown, it will not be as a symbol. It will be as a bridge between your stars and my sky, between your laws and my questions. A child in the crowd clapped once, then another, then silence again. Jason pointed to the stars. We do not need perfect rulers. We need honest ones, ones who ask, ones who listen. Azari looked at him, then at the people. The old way was strong, but the new way is rising. She took off the crown, held it in both hands, offered it not with pride, but with hope. Jason took it slowly, placed it on his own head, not because it fit, but because it meant something new. The crowd roared, not like before, Not just for beauty, but for change. Later that night, Jason stood alone on the high balcony. The stars blinked above. The wind moved gently. Lyra joined him. "The ship is ready. It will leave for Earth at sunrise." Jason nodded. "Prepare gifts, knowledge maps, peace. Will they listen?" She asked. "Some will not. But truth travels faster than fear." She smiled. "What do we call this new age?" Jason looked at the stars. "Not age, not era. Call it a beginning." The spaceship behind them lit up, power rising, wings glowing. Jason turned, walked inside. His journey was not ending. It was expanding. He was no longer just the human they found. He was now the king they never expected, and maybe, just maybe, the galaxy would follow.